Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
And DeYoung hits a fly ball out to left. Cespedes going back. He's at the wall. It's gone. DeYoung has done it again. He's at it again. DeYoung, extra bases. This guy's something else. DeYoung, his third double of the day. He drives in Mejia. This guy is unbelievable, and it's 4-1 St. Louis. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and it's the final game before the All-Star break. A beautiful afternoon here in St. Louis. Game number 3, the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. And with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. Paul DeYoung, it's an incredible story. This time last year, Aledmys Diaz was an all-star. He's not with the club now. It is DeYoung, and he's been fun to watch.
Oh, my gosh. The last 2 games against the Mets, 2 home runs, 4 doubles, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. He has been doing everything, and the impressive thing about him is that even on foul balls, he's right on the money with everything. Very few, if any, swings or misses over the last week.
He has been locked in, and he's in the lineup here this afternoon. Lance Lynn will get the call for the St. Louis Cardinals. Lynn and the Cardinals trying to win a series before the break, and baseball is coming up. Stadium, the scene. Stephen Piscotty is in the lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's game number 3. Of course, Yadier is. He'll be catching Lance Lynn. Randall Grichuk, some great moments along with his teammates in the first half of 2017.
Ring and a shot deep to left center. The Cardinals win it on opening night.
Out to deep right. First home run as a Cardinal. Dexter Fowler. Molina to second. Oh, what a throw. It is gone. Polanco rips it. Carpenter's there. A game saver. Wainwright out to deep left. A no-doubter. 2-run homer. 2-2. Struck him out. A sweep. Martinez at the wall. We're tied. There it is. His first. Did he get him? He did. Oh, what a play by Yadier Molina. Carpenter, a drive. Do it with an exclamation point. Grand slam. Back to him. This will do it. A perfect road trip. Welcome back to Wrigley, Mr. Fowler. Grichuk hits it down the left field line. It is gone! And he blasted it out of here. Voit hits it into right center field. His first ever major league hit. And what a moment for the St. Louis Kid. And we're tied! Tommy Pham does it again. We're tied at 5. Carlos Martinez. Complete game shutout. First ever of his young career. DeYoung, his 3rd double of the day. He drives in Mejia. This guy is unbelievable. Cardinals shortstop franchise history to have 4 extra base hits in one game. What's in store this afternoon? Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light, famous among friends. By Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest lasting full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Lance Lynn, the Hyundai pitch arsenal. Nothing fancy, Tim, as we've seen Lance Lynn go about his business over the years. A lot of fastballs.
A lot of fastballs. The thing about Lance this year, 21 home runs yielded prior to this year is the most that he's ever given up. So keeping the ball in the ballpark, very, very important for Lance Lynn. When he pitches and he allows no home runs, he's 4-0 on the year.
Pretty telling stat.
Yeah.
Here's Jose Reyes, the switch hitting shortstop. Terry Collins moving him to the top spot in this lineup. It's Reyes, Conforto, who's back in after being on the DL. He'll be at the All-Star game. Then Cespedes, Bruce, Flores, Duda, Rivera, Reynolds, and Matz. Jose Reyes here in the month of July is 9 for 22, 4 multi-hit games. That matches his total for the entire month of June. Here's a 2-0 pitch. And there's a strike. Tim, I know players are supposed to focus on what happens between the white lines. But you're Lance Lynn, you're a free agent to be. You're hearing your name all the time in trade rumors as that pitch is popped up. Luke Voigt under it, makes the catch. The question would be, how tough is that for a player to concentrate on the business at hand?
You can't worry about it. The business at hand is the business at hand. For all Major League Baseball players, you try not to be concerned about things you can't control.
And that's one of them.
Yeah, sure is.
There's Michael Conforto, a .285 hitter with 14 home runs. And he's driven in 41. Little tune-up for him. He'll be at the All-Star game in Miami on Tuesday. He's playing center field. Granderson has the day off. And the 1-0. That's popped up into shallow left field. Coming on Tommy Pham, and he makes the catch. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Pham, Fowler, Piscotty in the outfield. Jerko, DeYoung, Carpenter, and Voigt on the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate.
Throughout Lance Lynn's career, the one thing that you talk to the opposing hitters and they'll say, this guy is tough to lift. And the one thing that has been different since his arm surgery, and I don't know why, but balls have been lifted, and it's shown up in his home run rate, giving up 20.
Here's Yoenis Cespedes. Struggling just a bit, 6 for his last 42. No extra base hits, no RBIs in his last 10 games. He went 3 for 5 with a double, home run, drove in 3 back on June 23rd. That was against San Francisco. And since that time, it's been a tailspin for Cespedes. Been dealing with a number of ailments this year, and I'm sure that's part of why his success has gone down a little bit here at the tail end of the first half.
Yeah, sometimes fans can't relate to that. If something's wrong with your lower body, they say, why should that affect your swing? Well, the reason is you use the lower body in that swing.
And it's popped up again. 3 pop-ups. Carpenter calling for it. He has it. Good start for Lance Lynn. The Mets go in order. And the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Good job by Lynn. There's no score. Sure to go at least 7 innings, not allow a run in each of 2 consecutive starts by any Mets pitcher this year. Look at the lineup: Carpenter, Piscotty, and Pham, then Jerko, Molina, and Voit, Grichuk, DeYoung, and Wainwright. Wainwright was yesterday, so the new pitcher is Lance Lynn. But I read it right off the screen, and it should say Lance Lynn. But if Adam wants to pinch hit, you never know. May happen.
Well, he's certainly capable. We know that. Now, the Cardinals are against a tough assignment today. Steven Matz, 17 consecutive scoreless innings. Hurt at the beginning of the year, but he is ripe and ready. Reminds me a lot of John Matlack, who used to pitch in the middle 70s for the Mets. Excellent major league pitcher, also a left-hander.
We talked about him the other night.
About Matlack?
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
We did?
Yeah, we mentioned him. That is a fair ball. And that'll be a ground rule double.
How many times have you seen Matt Carpenter line one on the left field line? I can't remember a time in his major league at bats. I'm sure there have been, but that is so atypical of Matt, usually a pull hitter. And he takes this fastball from Matz. So Matt from Matz equals double. Just fair.
His on-base streak now to 16 straight with that double. Here's Tommy Pham.
A very deceptive 236 average because Matt Carpenter has been a much better hitter the last month of the season. Like a lot of the Mets hitters, or a lot of the Cardinal hitters, a poor start won't reflect in the average unless he continues to do that into August.
Upstairs, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
It's like the pitcher who gives up 8 earned runs in his first 3 starts, and then it takes him another 10 starts to get it down.
Sure.
To get his earned run average down.
It's like a reliever too when they get off to a bad start. Takes forever. Could take a full season to get the ERA back down.
That's right.
Well, that double by Matt Carpenter off of Steven Matz. Consider this coming into this start. He had allowed only 10 hits in the last 2 starts. All were singles.
And getting that runner to third base, something the Cardinals have not excelled in at all through the first half of the season.
Tommy Pham at the plate to start in left field today. 3-1 the count.
The thing that major league lineups have to understand is that cheap runs count. And if you get a double, man on second, nobody out, move him to third, have him score on a sacrifice fly, that 1-0 score, even though it's a cheap run, works.
Oh yeah.
And counts. Kind of saying that whimsically, but a good fastball from Matz, and it was a strike.
So 3-2 the count here on Tommy Pham. Runner at second is Matt Carpenter. And Pham drives it into center field. That's a base hit. Carpenter held at third. And runners at the corners for the Cardinals. The Mets defensively this afternoon. Cespedes in left. There's a look at Michael Conforto. He's in center. Jay Bruce is in right. Reynolds, Reyes, Flores, and Duda on the infield. Rivera's behind the plate. And that's presented by Dobbs. Well, good start here for the Cardinals. It brings in Dexter Fowler. Dexter, the switch hitter from this side of the plate, hitting just .215. 1 home run. He's driven in 7. Of his 14 home runs, 13 from the other side of the plate. Hit down the right field line. It's slicing foul. What I find interesting, and it may not be for you in talking about Dexter Fowler, but his natural side is this side of the plate, and yet he's proven to be a better hitter from the left side.
He's always been a better hitter
Yeah.
from the right side. Always. And I don't understand it either. Particularly the power numbers. 13 of 14 home runs from the left side.
Go figure. Told the story earlier this year, but he was the farm system of the Rockies, team that originally drafted him. Farm director watched him take BP and said, you'll start being a switch hitter tomorrow. Just messing around from the left side, and now here he is in the big leagues. Inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Dexter's former team, the Chicago Cubs, behind John Lester today, trailed 10-1. The Pirates with 10 runs in the first inning off of Lester.
Gotta be kidding me.
It is Souvenir to the right side. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
One of the more relaxed hitting conditions exists with runners at first and third and nobody out. The situation allows you to relax at the plate. You think about it, you say, even if I ground into a double play, even though it's no RBI, you score a run. That's the worst that can happen. Or I guess the worst that can happen would be a strikeout or a pop out. Did you get my drift?
I do. Big gap in left center. The 2-2. Fowler grounds it softly to third. Carpenter not running on the play.
No, you follow the third baseman up. There's nobody behind you. You can walk home. And think about Lucas Duda at first base. How effective is he throwing home? Everybody remembers the famous World Series play of several years ago. But look at Carpenter. All you have to do is follow the third baseman all the way. There's nobody backing up. So you're halfway. Once the throw's made, you walk home. Not good base running right there.
Runners at second and third for Jed Jerko.
You say, well, Carpenter's not a fast runner. How fast do you need to be if you're halfway down the line when the throw's made from the third baseman all the way across to first back to home? And again, if the Cardinals have a chance to test Duda's arm, do it.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Popped foul and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. We saw the Cardinals lose 3 base runners yesterday in game 2.
In 3 straight innings.
You know, you think about storylines of a first half. DeYoung's a story. Voit is a story. Sometimes lack of defense for the Cardinals, but base running too.
Yes. I think base running more egregious than defense.
2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out. Runners at second and third. Two and 2. So yesterday, base running a cause of concern, yet the Cardinals won the game. That was Darno yesterday who got the start.
Cardinals had a 3rd out at second base with Jerko batting, a man on third, and the 3rd out at second base when Yadier Molina was caught stealing at third base, rather. Those are no-nos in baseball. 1st to 3rd out at third base are no-nos.
You mentioned in the open, Paul DeYoung is locked in, and sometimes a pitcher can have a rough start, then he gets locked in. This could be a very important inning for the Cardinals.
That's a very important point.
Matz has been terrific in limited time this year. The count runs full. Molina is on deck. And it's pulled foul past Mike Schilt, the third base coach.
He got a curveball. Even though it's the first inning, you get the feeling that Matz really doesn't care whether he walks Jerko or not.
Set up the potential of a double play with Molina.
Sure.
A 3-2 pitch. Jerko hits it slowly to short. That'll score the run. He picks up an RBI. His 45th to lead the Cardinals this year. Carpenter scores, and it's 1-0 St. Louis.
There's that cheap run we were talking about. A ground ball out in the first inning. Cardinals score.
Here's Molina, a .320 career hitter against the New York Mets. Fouled back. Mets, first Mets pitcher to have at least 34 innings over his first 5 starts of a season since Matt Harvey back in 2013. Before Harvey, it was Johan Santana, and that was in 2008.
That's the thing. You think of Harvey, Syndergaard, DeGrom, Lugo,
Gesellman.
Yeah. You don't think of Steven Matz, but he is a quality major league pitcher.
In many ways a lost season because of the injuries for the Mets and Terry Collins. New York starts play today 11 games back in the National League East. And did Yadi get a piece of it? He certainly did. That run that the Cardinals score snapped Matz's streak of 17 straight innings without allowing a run. That was the longest active streak in the National League entering today. And the 1-2. The 2-2 pitch. Molina with a fly ball into left center. Late break by Cespedes, and it'll be Conforto who makes the catch. Cardinals get an RBI from Jed Jerko, and it's 1-0 Redbirds.
series so far against the Mets, and I had the chance to catch up with him earlier today and asked if it really all sank in. He said, you know, at one point he got home last night, he has some friends in town, and they really kind of just went out and were joking about things and how well things are going, but he said he's just going to keep doing the same thing he has been doing. Of course, Luke Voigt is up here as well, and he was his roommate in both Springfield and Memphis, so to have that sounding board or that teammate that he already has that camaraderie and relationship with has been really nice, and it kind of keeps him grounded and keep things normal. So All-Star break, plans to just hang out here in St. Louis and kind of explore the town and get back to things as soon as baseball gets back to Busch Stadium.
Well, he's been fun to watch. Thank you, Sarah. Here's Jay Bruce. He's the second Met to homer in 3 consecutive games this year. Curtis Granderson did that in late June. And Bruce is up to 23 home runs. He's driven in 59. And a ground ball hit into the shift. That's Jed Jerko, your third baseman, making the play. 4 up and 4 down for Lance Lynn. And the batter will be Wilmer Flores.
Dan, I've had people ask me that on the shift, if the third baseman's on the right side of the infield and the ball's hit to him, is that a 4-3 or a 5-3? You can't change the positions. He's still a third baseman, so that's a 5-3 putout, not 4-3, even though it was into the second base position.
So then the question is, how do you write it on your scorecard?
5-3.
But then in 3 years, when I want to look back at this game and say, well, Tim, was it a shift?
Yeah, how did Jay Bruce hit a ball to third base? Do you remember that? Pouring over your scorecard as you do 3 years down the line.
That's right. There's a fly ball into right. Fans don't know this, but myself and Tim, my partner today, will get on the phone right before Thanksgiving usually and go over many of our scorecards just to make sure they were correct from the previous season.
You know what? I have sent one scorecard to the Hall of Fame.
Can I guess it?
Go ahead.
I would imagine Game 6 of 2011.
No postseason games.
Really?
Never.
How about a no-hitter?
Nope. Nope. The perfect game from David Cohn. Nope.
That's it, huh?
Nope.
No?
One. And that was the July 4th and 5th game in 1986, where the Mets played the Atlanta Braves, and the Mets still hold the record for most runs scored in the top of the 19th inning. They scored 5 times. That was Rick Camp, a pitcher. His only home run in the major leagues was in relief that night because the Braves were out of pinch hitters.
It's unbelievable.
That was one of the most unbelievable games I've ever seen. It ended at 3:58 a.m. in Atlanta.
Incredible.
Doc Gooden started, double rain delay, 19 innings. The Mets won by 4, and Rick Camp was on deck with the bases loaded when the game ended.
A line out by Flores, and it brings in Duda. And you actually had space to continue to go the amount of innings required to cover that game.
My scorecard goes to the 17th inning. I was winging it after that.
Okay.
Yep.
First 2 have been retired here in the top of the second. Lucas Duda at the plate. He's batting .240 with 14 homers.
Thing about it was at 4 a.m. Ted Turner said, light the fireworks.
Do it anyway.
So do it anyway. There were more people in the ballpark after the game because the bars had closed. So they figured, well, we go to look at that. The lights are on. So they had a couple more went in and had their beers at the ballpark at 4 in the morning.
Watch a little fireworks. Why not?
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
A 2-out walk, and that's the first base runner for the Mets today.
As a matter of fact, in the Atlanta Constitution, 2 days later, because they didn't have a time to get the deadline met, but Ted Turner was criticized for that setting off the fireworks because Grady Memorial Hospital, the general hospital there in town, was only 1.5 miles from Atlanta. The cardiac unit was right there. And they said, oh my gosh,
you're being serious.
I am, honestly. We're being attacked. People in the cardiac unit say, wait a minute, we're being attacked by fireworks. What's going on? That is a true story.
It's great. Rene Rivera at the plate. No balls and 2 strikes. His first start in this series. Sarah had the report on Luke Voit and Paul DeJong, and DeJong was saying to me the other day, things have finally started to slow down, both on the field and off the field. It's just baseball.
Interesting comment, and very, very important, particularly for young players.
Sure.
To let it lay. Let things settle.
The requests, the interviews, getting used to the big crowds, finding your way to the ballpark of a city you don't know. Just little things you don't think about.
That's right.
Now for Luke Voit, it's not too hard. He's in his hometown.
Yeah.
For that part at least.
Yeah.
Finding the ballpark and a place to live. Strikeout, the first of the afternoon for Lance Lynn. Piscotty, Voit, and DeJong all coming up. It's 1-0 Cardinals. Here at the ballpark, Megan Eberhardt runs our promotions department. Did a great job with that cap. Go big when the Cardinals go big. Coffee fountain, frozen drinks, any size drink. 50 cents the next day at On the Run. Redbird scores 6. Keep the celebration going. Stop by On the Run tomorrow for a thirst quenching win. You earned it. Nice crowd on hand. A hot afternoon. We're in the low to mid 90s. And Stephen Piscotty is at the plate. I've got a couple of scorecards that I've kept after hundreds, now thousands of games. One of them working with Mike Shannon on the radio side of Bud Smith's no-hitter against the San Diego Padres. That's a fair ball. Piscotty didn't run. He thought that was going foul.
The one thing you learn as a young player is don't try to be the umpire. Always be the player. I mean, had Piscotty run hard out of the box because that was a high bounder, it would have been a tough play at first base. Don't be the umpire. Got to be adjustments made in the second half of the season.
The strike to Luke Voit. The other card I kept was when Tony La Russa became the all-time winningest manager in Cardinals history. There's a fly ball out to shallow right. This may drop. Bruce is over and makes the catch. Tia in the driver's seat. A look at Paul DeJong. The Mets trying to figure out a way to get him out. It's been an incredible 2 days against New York. So he's 7 for 8, 4 doubles, couple of home runs. He's driven in 3. The Kia in the driver's seat.
You can imagine what the Mets pitching staff is thinking. Who is this guy?
How did this happen?
Yeah. Where's he been?
The second player to pick up as many as 7 hits in the first 2 career games. Note career games against the Mets. Also the second player to produce at least 3 hits in each of his first 2 games against the Mets. And those marks were set by a Cardinal, a third baseman. Originally, Kenny Reyes Zamboni in a twilight doubleheader at Shea in 1972.
Called Zamboni because he sucked up everything near him as far as ground balls were concerned. Great hands, great range, great arm.
All of those were off of John Matlack.
Really?
Yes, it was.
Get out of here.
That was the opener as the young Yanks at foul. He went 4 for 4 and then 3 for 6 in a 13-inning nightcap against the Mets at Shea Stadium. And Kenny Reyes, we'll see him a lot here at the ballpark. Still comes down.
Sure.
Good guy. What a great defensive player he was.
Could flat pick it.
DeYoung, base hit into right. The hits just keep on coming. My partner looks at me and just shakes his head.
I'm bewildered. I mean, the great thing about a hit like this is it's after him hammering everything the last 2 days. So he gets a tough pitch from Mets that's on the outside corner, and instead of trying to pull it, just hits it to right field in front of Bruce. So that makes him 8 for 9 in 2+ games.
Incredible.
It is.
His 6 extra base hits are 2 more than any other player had in their first 2 games against the Mets. And that's by anybody. So he's made history against New York too.
And keep in mind, he's hitting 8. And in the National League, it's a very difficult 8-hole hitter, much tougher than it is in the American League because of the DH.
Notable performances in a 3-game series. As you get a look at the strikeout of Lance Lynn, but on that list, the great Bo Hart. That was a fun story. 1-0 after 2. Is brought to you by your local St. Louis area Volkswagen dealers. With Tim McCarver and Sarah Daly, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Glad you're with us here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis as we move to the top of the 3rd. It's Matt Reynolds, the third baseman, Steven Matz, the pitcher, and then Jose Reyes. Reynolds hitting .206, 1 homer, and he's driven in 1 run. TJ Rivera had been starting every day. Currently an 8-game hitting streak, but not in the lineup this afternoon.
Matt Reynolds is still considered a rookie because he was up only last year and he had 89 at bats. And to explain that a little further, a player has to have at least 130 at bats, an offensive player. I think for a pitcher it's 50 innings, right? So 50 innings pitched. If you don't have that and you come back the next year, you're still a rookie.
And a ground ball that's hit to third. MLB.com at bat, your #1 mobile app for live Cardinals baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. You can get Cardinals home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, statcast, news, and more. It's all at MLB.com at bat today. And a strike to Steven Matz, who's hitting .182. And then with relievers, it comes down to service time and appearances and those types of things for rookie status.
Gets a little more difficult to explain with relievers.
Yeah. And with relievers or even position players, you accumulate more than 45 days on the active roster of a major league team.
For instance, had Matt Reynolds done that in his 89 at bats, accumulated more than 45 days, he would not be a rookie this year.
Right. Fly ball out to center. Fowler with the catch. And it brings in Jose Reyes. Reyes popped out his first time up. In his prime, boy, was he an exciting player.
498 career stolen bases for Reyes. That's how prolific he has been over the years. Speed, great arm, good hands at short.
He's played the outfield even a little bit for the Mets. Third base. Ground ball, tricky hop to Voit, and a race to the bag, and he beats Reyes there.
Good play.
Coming up for the Cardinals, the top of the lineup, and it's 1-0. biggest stars take the field for Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, and that'll be Tuesday night in Miami. My partner 15 years ago tonight was in Milwaukee calling the All-Star Game. You called 23 of them.
Gosh.
But none of them ended in a tie until 15 years ago tonight.
7-7.
It's incredible, wasn't it?
It really was. I think it was 11 innings, I believe. Might have been 12.
I just, the thing I remember so much from that game, Bud Selig is in the front row or second row at Miller Park. He was so excited to bring the All-Star Game to his hometown.
Yeah.
And he kind of just shrugs his shoulders as if to say, I don't know what to tell you, as both sides ran out of pitchers.
Yeah, yeah. And after all, it is an exhibition game, but you know, if you have a ticket to a game, you expect, particularly if you're an American League fan or a National League fan, you expect to celebrate if your league won. And that night, everybody celebrated because nobody won.
A tie. There's no ties in baseball, except the All-Star Game 15 years ago. Just saw the shift there for Matt Carpenter, who doubled down the left field line first time up.
I did not realize tonight was the anniversary of that, or today.
Now, you're a good company man, and Fox was trying to sell This One Counts after that to put more on the line for the All-Star Game.
Yeah, there've been no ties since This One Counts.
I was not a fan of that one bit.
So
well,
you're trying. So, well, I'll tell you, is that a backhanded compliment?
Well, just hold that
say,
thought
well,
for a second, will you?
23 All-Star games, but you're not a company man. Now you mix all that in.
I said you were.
Sounds like I'm a company man, for crying out loud.
Well, I mean, you know, you had to promote This One Counts.
Trying to engender enthusiasm in the game. But
let me tell you, fans,
it was tough. I agree with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim McCarver, and this is the game of the century.
And it ends in a tie.
Well, we'll see you next Saturday on the Fox Game of the Week. Strike two, Tommy Pham. Missouri Lottery Fox tracks the breaking ball, catching the inner portion of the zone.
You know, it's something that really bears pointing out right now. That hit by DeYoung in the 8th inning with 2 out, nobody on. Now, didn't score a run, didn't drive in a run, won an extra base hit, but it cleared the pitcher. So now Matt Carpenter leads off the inning. He's at first with nobody out. In the National League, that's very, very important.
This is no disrespect to Lance Lynn, but it's not a Zach Greinke or Mike Leake, Adam Wainwright, guys that could swing the bat a little bit.
Right, right.
3-1 the count. And Lance Lynn was back to batting right-handed in this game today. That's hit down the right field line. It's well hit. Tailing. It is fair. And it's gone. An opposite field home run for Tommy Pham.
Inside fastball. No, I beg your pardon. That ball tailed away. Pham hit it the other way. Thing about Pham, you think, you stand next to him, you say, he's not a strong guy. Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he is.
We talk about storylines of the first half. That is a big one in a positive way for the Cardinals. Tommy Pham now with 11 home runs. As Fowler hits a fly ball down the right field line. Bruce is over near the seats. Leaps. And he caught it. What a catch by Jay Bruce in right field.
My gosh. That's particularly a tough play for a left-handed thrower because he's got to go across his body to make the play. So he backhands it.
Great catch.
In not only foul territory, but close to the fence, right up against. Really good play. He is an excellent right fielder.
Good arm, accurate.
Positioned properly all the time.
Got off to a slow start when he was traded over by Cincinnati to New York, and he's put up big numbers since then. Could be a trade piece as a free agent to be for the Mets.
He would be much sought after if he is.
Toyota keys to the game, looking at Matz and Lynn. Now a look at Jed Jerko. The 1-2 is down low. The 2-2 pitch to Jed Jerko.
You look at a guy like Matz and you think about the Cardinals. Cardinals have all right-handed starters. It's really been the case, I guess, in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
Dan? But you know, what would a guy like Matz in a Cardinal rotation look like? Darn good.
Cardinals had Jaime Garcia, but some injury-plagued seasons with him.
Yeah. Jaime now with the Atlanta Braves.
The 3-2 pitch. And Jerko gets underneath it, and a fly ball to Cespedes, battling the sun, backing up and making the catch. As we look at the Toyota keys to the game, and Matt's very good on the road, and Lynn, the ERA, very good at home. And so 2 outs, nobody on, a 3-0 St. Louis lead. Molina fly to center, first time up, and he's 0 for 1. ...2006 against these Mets. Yadier Molina in Game 7 with that home run off of Aaron Howman. Look at that Cardinal bullpen going crazy as he had a remarkable postseason. He pops this one up. Rivera with the catch in fair territory. The oddity of that, 7 postseason games against the Mets. 1 home run. Today playing his 74th game regular season against the Mets. 1 home run. check in again with Sarah Daly.
Well, gentlemen, of course, the buzz around Busch Stadium with the team is the All-Star break that's coming up tomorrow after today's action, and had a chance to catch up with a couple of guys and figure out what they're doing for these couple days off. And Brett Cecil is heading to the Lake of the Ozarks down there to hang out with his family. Dexter Fowler just built a new home in Vegas, so he's heading home to hang out with his daughter for a bit. Trevor Rosenthal and his family are heading down to Table Rock Lake. And Lance Lynn is heading after the game down to Florida to enjoy some beach time with his daughter as well. So guys plan to get away and just debrief and disconnect for a couple of days.
I plan on going to my home right here in St. Louis. How about you, Tim?
I'll be going to my home in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Laying out on the beach, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm not sitting on the beach either. I'm not going to the beach.
You're not a beach guy, are you?
I used to be. Oh, yeah, I used to be, man, with the bronze body. You kidding? It was hot.
Just to ask you.
You don't want all that information, do you?
Conforto a base hit, and the first base hit against Lynn today. You know, I got some scoop on you, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Your bobblehead. I went to Megan Eberhardt, who helped design the Tim McCarville bobblehead yesterday. I said, what was Tim's reaction? She said, well, I showed him the initial form of the. Uh-oh, you're getting mad at me.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, no.
She showed you
full
the initial.
disclosure on this telecast. Kind of.
The bobblehead, you said you didn't like the cheeks, and you weren't referring to the facial cheeks.
Well, I mean, you know, they were a little bigger than I'd hoped.
You said, hey, man, I mean, I was a pro athlete. I mean, I had a good-looking body.
Megan has kidded me about that for the last 6 months.
You loved the bobblehead, though, didn't you?
I did. It was great. Loved being a part of it.
That's great.
A lot of fun.
Here's Cespedes at the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. For a guy with this kind of talent, he has bounced around a little bit.
You know, so re-signing with the Mets for $110 million, something like that.
High drive into deep right. Backing up Biscotti. And he makes the catch. Soccer night at Busch Stadium coming up. Presented by Barrister's Restaurant, Monday, July 24th. Fans purchasing the special theme ticket receive an exclusive St. Louis Cardinals soccer jersey. It's soccer night coming up here at Busch.
I'm not really on the soccer. I know St. Louis has been a hotbed for soccer. Gosh, 55 years ago when I signed, I didn't realize that when I first came to St. Louis, but I know that now. My question to you is, how in the world can St. Louis not have a professional soccer team?
I would agree.
You know,
when it comes down to economics, stadiums.
Couldn't they play in the arena? I mean,
no, they wanted to build a brand new stadium here.
Oh, they did.
Yep. I would think it's still not knowing
feasible.
Firsthand, but yeah, that there's a chance. I know that professional soccer wants to be in St. Louis because of the reasons you just gave. They know the fan base would be right up their alley.
Absolutely. I mean, think about Atlanta. They're drawing full houses down there for their soccer games.
A little bit low, 2 balls and no strikes.
I've often wondered about how American athletes, particularly baseball players, are trained manually, whereas most of the world are trained from the feet. Not the feet, but the feet.
You go to a hockey game and you'll see, as this has popped up, Cardinals did have a shift on. Tommy Pham battling the sun and makes the catch.
I mean, it has always amazed me how in the, you know, whether it's the Middle East or South America or Africa or what have you, the things that they can do with the ball with their feet, almost as if the word is dexterous, dexterously as American athletes do manually.
Well, and you go to a hockey game before the game, the players, the way that they warm up, some of them, not all, they juggle with a soccer ball. And you come out here a few years ago, there were guys on the Cardinals team that were warming up. This is 3-4 hours before a game, but just playing soccer. A lot of them did it.
Yeah, interesting.
Force play at second, midway through 4, 3-0 Cardinals on top. Bracket challenge, and with a little luck, you and 3 friends may be going to the 2017 World Series thanks to T-Mobile. Make your picks at MLB.com/bracket-challenge. We're in the bottom of the 4th, and here's Stephen Piscotty, grounded out to 3rd, and he's 0 for 1. And a ground ball that's hit to second baseman Wilmer Flores. Here's Luke Voit. I did a season ticket holder event, I'd say about an hour before our first pitch, and Michael Gersh, the new general manager, spoke and did take questions from the crowd. And one of the things he mentioned is that Luke Voit and Paul DeJong are not going anywhere. He said these guys have shown us they can play a little bit at this level. We're going to give them every opportunity to do so. The tricky part, in particular with Luke Voigt's case, will be finding at bats. And the reason that we say that is that Colton Wong will be healthy coming back after the break. He's at second base. And then you've got Matt Carpenter. You want to keep him in the lineup. He goes to first base. So where the at bats come from, and how do you find a spot for Voit, which will be something they'll have to figure out.
I guess an extension of that would be finding at bats against right-handed pitching.
Exactly.
Because it would make sense if Wong came back being a left-handed hitter to rest him occasionally against tough left-handers and play Voit. There aren't that many left-handers in the league. That's the problem.
And he did allude to that too.
He did.
You know, trying to find those types of matchups.
Yeah.
Here's a 3-1. Hit down the right field line and out of play.
Well, players can solve that problem.
Production.
Be so hot that they can't put you on the bench.
Said it a million times. This is, just like any job, results driven.
It's business, baby.
3-2. And Voit hits a fly ball out to right center. Conforto near the track and makes the catch. BJC Healthcare difference maker. And it's difference makers. Pham, Sierra, DeYoung, and Voit. Call-ups that have been difference makers for the Cardinals.
Talked about Tommy Pham. That home run number is 11 now with his 2-run shot in the 3rd inning.
Tommy Pham did not get called up until May 5th.
Heck, Dan, I mean, you wonder where the Cardinals would be without the production of some of their young players in Memphis.
Absolutely.
Over the last decade or so, or more.
Well, you have to remember, too, the Cardinals are not picking 1st or 2nd overall. The Astros complete rebuild. The Chicago Cubs complete rebuild. I mean, think about it. Washington.
The Cardinals' first player this year was taken on the 84th round, right?
3rd round, 84th pick.
84th pick, 3rd round. Unbelievable. The way the system is set up, baseball makes it very, very difficult to repeat for that reason. You win, you get
0-2 out to deep left again. He's done it.
Oh,
DeYoung, the home run into the bullpen.
Win it.
It's incredible what he's doing. The Mets can't get him out.
What's going on? Tell me, partner.
I'll have what he's having. I don't know if he's ever done this in Little League.
That was after Rob Reiner's mother made that statement when Meg Ryan ordered in that famous movie scene, "I'll have what she's having." Well, the Cardinal players are going to be saying that. "I'll have what he's having." Great line, partner. I'm blaming it on you.
This is unbelievable.
It really is. You talk about a Cardinal fan and all the throngs of thousands that have come through the turnstiles this weekend. They are glad they have.
Wow. This is one of the best series I can ever remember in 3 games of anybody.
He's trying to suppress the smile, but he can't. And I can't blame him from a human standpoint. Look, somebody's gotten him.
9 for 10, 4 doubles, 3 home runs in this series. And he's 2 for 2 today. This is the major leagues. This isn't supposed to happen.
No. This is not where the big Little League bully comes in and just overpowers everybody.
And Lynn pops it up. Foul territory, Lucas Duda. The legend of Paul DeYoung continues to grow. An incredible weekend series he'll never forget against the Mets. We won't either.
Neither will we.
I'll have what he's having. Paul DeYoung, another home run, 2 for 2. Cardinals about to hit the Mets 5-1, and they lead 4-0. Something to keep in mind in this game is you may see a starter pitch at some point for either side because of the All-Star break coming in relief.
Sure. Most teams, there are a couple of teams that play Thursday, right? I think that's right. Cardinals, of course, play in Pittsburgh on Friday to resume the second half of the season. For that reason, kind of like everybody aboard today, or most everybody.
And that's well hit. Out to right, but racing over. It's Piscotty to make the catch. If you can't catch the games on television, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports Midwest and Cardinals baseball with you wherever you go. Rene Rivera. That pitch in the dirt. We had a Cardinal fan recently pass away, Steve Truesdell. Very loyal, knowledgeable Cardinals fan. He was at Busch Stadium to celebrate the World Series Game 7 of 2011. And his family misses him and loves him very much. They wanted to pass that along. That's Steve Truesdell. We have seen more of this in this homestand than I can recall at any point in time in the last couple of years.
That tossing contest.
It's happened a lot, hasn't it?
Unusually, yes.
Here's a 1-1. Out of play. Rivera struck out first time up, the only strikeout for Lynn. He's allowed 1 base hit. Inside again, 3-2.
Famous number worn by Rene Rivera. Henry Aaron wore that 44. Willie McCovey.
Mr. October.
Reggie Rue. Reggie Jackson.
It's slowly up the third base line, and Jerko let it go. That was his only choice.
That's right.
And it's a base hit.
Yeah, Jerko, knowing that Paul DeYoung's going to be behind him, properly allowing this ball to go, hoping it would go foul, but didn't. Fielded by DeYoung.
Nothing you can do about that.
No.
Seth Lugo is throwing in the Mets pen. He's a right-hander. And for some of the starters, as we mentioned earlier, they might get a chance to pitch in this game. For some, it might be a bullpen day too, depending on how the schedule falls. Here's the 0-1. After the game, the players will scatter all across the country, get away from baseball for a few days. Cardinals start the second half in Pittsburgh. That'll be on Friday night on Fox Sports Midwest. The Pirates a 12-2 lead over the Chicago Cubs. That's in the top of the 6th. Also in the top of the 6th, Milwaukee leading the Yankees 5-3. So Milwaukee goes into the break first place in the Central. Cardinals have a chance to be tied with Chicago at the break. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
No. Even after the first series, Cardinals opened the season, their first 12 games, they were 3-9.
The 2-2. You'd have to say the Cubs have been the biggest disappointment this year in baseball.
I think Cub fans, though, probably are the most forgiving fans this year because of what happened last October. I mean, they win the first time. Everybody says the pressure was on this year. To me, the pressure's over.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Double play ball, glove by DeYoung, the turn by Carpenter, double play, 6-4-3. We'll introduce you to a special fan when we come back. A cancer survivor of neuroblastoma. He had 5% odds to make it. He wants to be a broadcaster. That was a tumor in his stomach taken out, and he had the chance today before the game to visit with Tim McCarver, but that's only part of the story.
Well, I was at a dinner in Memphis, Tennessee on June 25th. They had the auction, a charity auction for St. Jude's Hospital in Memphis that does such a remarkable job. And the auction was to spend a day here in the booth. And his aunt and uncle paid a fortune. At age 10, as you said, a 5% chance of living. He's 20 years old right now, a senior at Ole Miss, the same school that Lance Lynn went to. And his make-a-wish wish when he was 10 years old was he wanted a baseball field put in his backyard. And Make-A-Wish said, we'll handle that. And they did, together with St. Jude's in Memphis. And there is the baseball field in Sam Ferris's backyard in Oxford, Mississippi. I'll tell you, I've got goosebumps, and you believe me, folks, you would have had goosebumps talking to Sam. It was an honor and a privilege to be talking to Sam before the game.
St. Jude's does remarkable work for
Just
children.
Amazing.
Deep in the hole and under the glove of Reyes. And the same can be said for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which the Cardinals, the players, and their wives have been active with Make-A-Wish for many, many years. I was active for a long time with Make-A-Wish, but they do make so many dreams of children that are very sick come true. And sure enough, they built him a baseball field. And he was telling us many of the local teams come over to his house to practice.
Yeah, the Little League teams. As a matter of fact, the first Little League game they played there, they had 1,100 people in Oxford, Mississippi who came to the game at his ballpark in his backyard.
And they were selling popcorn and candy and soda.
Hot dogs, you know, the full regalia. Just a magnificent story.
Up the middle, base hit for Fowler. Pham will stop at second base. Well, Lugo is hot and ready if Terry Collins wants to go in that direction.
Hit number 7 for the Mets. Bet at least one hit in every inning.
And you're to be commended too for giving back with St. Jude's and being honored by that great program as well.
Well, it was the Liberty Bowl program. As a matter of fact, one of the honorees back in 1977, Elvis Presley.
You and Elvis. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Our Chevy called with a pen. That's it for Mets. So you get a look at the folks in Big Mac land. They had a souvenir earlier this homestand thanks to Luke Voigt. We had a shot of Steven Matz as he went into the dugout, slammed his glove, then slammed his hat. I'm sure it's twofold. One, upset with his performance, but maybe upset too. Terry Collins taking him out early in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit of both maybe.
Yeah, 2-on, 4-0 game. Got to understand it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't allow it to get in that situation.
Eric Goodell is the new pitcher. We thought Lugo was going to come on. It's now Goodell. And here's Jed Jerko with 2 runners on. Terrific first half for Jed Jerko. Could have been an all-star.
Yes, sir.
Here's a 1-0.
Good play by Rivera. thing is, you don't anticipate, as a catcher, you don't anticipate the ball in the dirt if it's a fastball. If it's a curveball, you anticipate all balls in the dirt. You go down with it. That right there is a keen athletic play right there.
Sometimes as a catcher, and you would know better than most, but you don't have time to get your body over there.
No, that's right. That's right. That getting in front of the ball is overrated. You try getting in front of a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the dirt away. You can't.
Nope.
So you have to use the glove.
2-0 the count with 2 runners on. A 4-0 St. Louis lead. Big gap in left center. And a breaking ball drops in for a strike. That may have crossed up Rivera. A look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal on Eric Goodell.
It's a good pickup, partner, and it absolutely was a cross-up. It's not as bad when you're looking for the express and you get the local. It's when you're looking for the local and you get the express. Those are the ones that can take your head off.
The 2-1 pitch. Popped up. Duda will give it a look, and it's out of play.
I'm sure you folks watching in have seen plays where catchers have looked for the curveball, and the fastball, they didn't lay a glove on it.
Sure.
Sometimes it hits the umpire without a play. Of course, the umpire is defenseless because he has no glove.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. And Jerko strikes out. 2 outs, and the batter is Molina.
Well, that splitter disappeared.
You know, Tim, we're talking about the home run that Molina hit against the Mets at Shea Stadium, Game 7 of 2006. And if you look back at the numbers, Yadier Molina was not an accomplished offensive player at that point in his career. And I've talked to members of that 06 team, and they believe it was his quote-unquote coming out party. You know, that was when everything came together. His confidence, he built on that the next year, and it's still going strong in 2017. Base hit by Yadi. That drives in a run to make it a 5-0 St. Louis lead.
What a nifty piece of bat handling by Yadier Molina. That ball out of the strike zone, down. With Wimbledon going on, that was a little lob shot to right center field. Pham scoring easily with 2 outs off at the crack of the bat, and the Cards extend their lead.
He loves it. 5-0 Cardinals. And here's Steven Piscotty. He's 0 for 2. Grounded to third, grounded to second. I'm going to get your thoughts on this, but I'm under the belief that if the Cardinals are going to make a run in the second half, the guy at the plate has got to pick it up and be the player that they're expecting.
Well, there are several that have to.
Scotty with a fly ball. Cespedes backs up and he'll make the catch.
Put Colton Wong in that same, you know, he's got to come off the DL and do well right away. But again, where do you play him?
like on Friday night. Pham with a home run. The Cardinals with 5 runs scored, and the legend of Paul DeJong against the Mets has continued here on this Sunday afternoon.
Think about New York headlines tomorrow.
They could have some fun with this name.
Oh, I'll guarantee you. The New York Post tomorrow, on the back page, I'll guarantee you. Paul DeJong becomes a weekend warrior.
He's the show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they'll have you're right. They'll have a ball with that. Those headline writers.
Yep. You don't know anything about the back pages, do you?
No, I don't.
Just you want to be off them?
No, I don't. I don't want to be on page 6
no,
either.
Sir.
Page 6 is the famous page 6, the celebrity part of page 6, and it seems like all of them that are on there was nothing nice to say about them.
It's a different fan base, different town.
Yep. Yes, it is. It's New York City.
And we will be there after 3 games next weekend against the Pirates, 4 with the Mets, 3 with Chicago. And if you look at August, club is on the road a lot, so they'll have to do some damage away here from home. It's the home plate umpire Jeff Nelson, also the crew chief on a hot afternoon. As Diaz trying to help out as well. Doug Eddings at first, Stu Sherwater, and he's at second base. The umpiring crew this afternoon. It's not only hot today, but it's also muggy here in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful shot of Busch Stadium, the arch in the background, skyline of downtown. Greensfelder building across the way. One of the top law firms in the Midwest. It's based right here. We're lucky to have them here in St. Louis. We're in the top of the 6th, and Curtis Granderson will be the pinch hitter. And a pitch taken a little bit low.
Only 3 base runners for the Mets in this ball game. They've not had 2 base runners on in any inning.
It's always interesting to see when a pitcher comes back from Tommy John. They feel so good initially, usually 12-13 months removed from the surgery, and then they do hit a dead arm spot, you know, where it just doesn't come out of the hand like it had previous. And once they get through that, get over the hump there, they're back to where they were before. We may have seen that a little bit with Lance Lynn. You never know. Three and 2 the count. Granderson a swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts today for Lance Lynn. Hyatt Regency St. Louis at the Arch has all the bases covered for your next ballpark visit. New guest rooms, barbecue, and Brewhouse Sports Bar, and more just steps away from the ballpark in the Transform Arch grounds and Riverfront. 655-1234 or St. Louis arch.regency.hyatt.com. Here's Jose Reyes back to the top of the Mets lineup. We had the chance to visit with one of my favorites prior to the game today. I know one of your favorites too, as Reyes puts it in the air. Spent 10 years wearing that Cardinal uniform. Former 42nd round pick that turned into an MVP. Keith Hernandez.
From Daly City, California, right outside San Francisco. He is a trip, too. He's so much
That's the
fun.
best way to put it.
Every time you see him, you smile. What a nice thing to say about anybody. We'll talk baseball with you day in and day out. Listening to Gary Cohen right now and probably not having a clue how he's going to respond to that.
Hey, I know the feeling.
Keith Hernandez, the best fielding first baseman I have ever seen.
6 Gold Gloves. That's quite the statement you just made.
Could have been more. Number one, he was made for third base. I saw him while I was doing Met games for 16 years. New York, after the trade was made for Neil Allen and Rick Ownby in 1983. I would see Keith Hernandez, and I'm sure Cardinal fans saw enough of him. He was the MVP, shared it with Willie Stargell in 1979 when he was with the Cardinals. But with first and second, nobody out. The bunt is on. He was so far in that he would field the ball, throw the ball to third base, the natural throw for a left-hander, and end up in foul territory between home and third.
Wow.
Between home and third. Think about how far that is.
Right.
And how far he had to come to do that. He was not a fast runner, but he was on defense.
Well, what I love is I listen to their games a lot. I think Gary
too.
Cohen is as
Excellent.
good as they come.
Excellent.
And Gary will say, and he's very professional, well, it's 2-2, and they may come with a fastball on this pitch. And right away, Gare, I don't know, Gare. You got to think about that. I'm just not so sure about this. Ron Darling, who's polished.
Yes.
Well, this
Yale
is why
graduate.
you do this on the 2-2. And, Ronnie, I'm telling you, you go inside, you better watch out. Yeah. Fun to be around. Keith Hernandez.
He really is.
3-2 pitch, lifted out to left, going back Tommy Pham, and he makes the catch on the track up against the wall.
You know, we talk about meetings on the mound all the time, and we'll talk about Keith Hernandez. You know what? I thought it was 2 out. I got caught.
It's all right.
Sound like Keith.
Favorite Peanuts character, Charlie Brown, Thursday, July 27th. Fans purchasing a special theme ticket receive their very own exclusive Charlie Brown bobblehead, and get your tickets now at cardinals.com/theme.
To put a cap on the Keith Hernandez story, 1986, Game 6 of the playoffs between the Houston Astros and the New York Mets. 16th inning, 2 outs, 2 on. Kevin Bass, a switch hitter, the pitcher, and Gary Carter went out to the mound. Keith Hernandez joined him, and Keith said, before you say anything, Gary, if you call for anything but a curveball against Kevin Bass, I'm killing you. Now, obviously kind of kidding.
Yeah, but he got the point across.
He got the point across, and Kevin Bass made the last out of the 86 playoffs, Houston and the Mets, on a breaking ball down out of the strike zone.
And if the Mets don't win that game, they're facing Mike Scott in Game 7.
And you know what? They would not have beaten Mike Scott. Nobody would have beaten Mike Scott. He was on such a roll.
It's one of the more famous postseason games as Luke Voigt sends a fly ball out to deep right, backing up Bruce. He's at the wall, and it's gone! Just over the wall, Luke Voigt is homered. His third here in the big leagues.
Have to go back to yesterday's game. Watch where the pitch is. We said that nobody swings through a low fastball, and Luke Voigt not the exception. Home run number 3 for Voigt, who is anything but a void in this lineup.
Been fun, energy, some power, local kid. Send him down. Got to do something better than this. Come on, Paul. He actually made it out. He's human after all.
Whew. Superhuman.
Brings in Lance Lynn. Is Seth Lugo on the mound. And greeted by the home run from Voigt. Lynn first time up, batting from the right side of the plate, and the second time, and now he is hitting from the left side of the plate, up the middle, and backhanded by Flores. He told Jim Hayes the reason that he went to the left side. He said, well, I've been doing studying of the analytics, and my launch angle from the left side of the plate is better.
Exit velocity,
launch angle.
For Lance Lynn, his exit velocity is out of the infield, not over the fence. And I know Lance will find that funny, I hope. Lance is a big guy.
Yeah, don't mess with him.
I negotiate now. I don't fight anymore.
Here's Carpenter with 2 outs. I wonder just how much the Cardinals are giving thought to this idea in trying to figure out at bats for DeYoung and Voigt, Wong, Pham. Do you think about the versatility of Carpenter at, let's say, some games playing third base, or maybe even moving to the outfield and playing left field, which he had done under Tony La Russa? Just something to keep in mind.
Well, Mike Matheny will have more pieces to move around in the second half, primarily because a guy like Colton Wong's coming off the DL.
And that is a fair ball, gloved by Duda, diving for the bag and save. Normally on a play like that, if Duda thought he got him, he'd hop right up and point to the dugout and Terry Collins to review.
Yeah.
To the naked eye, I thought he was out.
It was awfully close. I would agree with that.
Well, Terry Collins has a very good look at this and didn't even confer with his video team. He hopped right up and said, go ahead and review it.
That's right. Yeah, he was out.
Yeah.
That right foot was up in the air. And then the knee. I don't know why guys slide into first base anyway. Number one, it's dangerous. Guys who go head first in, very, very dangerous. But even if it's legs first, you know, the thing is, the knee is trailing the right foot. You tuck the knee under, The right foot comes down, and the glove was on the bag before the right foot came down. That's the way I saw it.
And it's an out of Carpenter. So the call is overturned, and a nice play by Duda. Home run by Luke Voigt. He's third in the big leagues. He's now driven in 8. Just over the glove of Jay Bruce, and it's all St. Louis. Two hits allowed by Lance Lynn. StubHub is your ticket out to once-in-a-lifetime experiences. From Cardinal games to amazing concerts to shows you just don't want to miss, StubHub connects you with the world of live. StubHub, it's your ticket out. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. A hot afternoon here in St. Louis. And Lance Lynn has been very good. Only 2 hits allowed. His first base hit was back in the 4th. That was Michael Conforto. The other, an infield hit by Rene Rivera as Randall Grichuk takes over in left field. Alex Mejia is at second base. Cespedes is 0 for 2, popped out to second, also flied out to right. Everybody else outside of Grichuk and Mejia the same. Here's a 1-1. Cespedes ground ball to short, to Young to his left. Jay Bruce will dig in. He is 0 for 2. Kubota power stats. And against the Cardinals, most home runs by opponent. Howard with 13 against the Cardinals. Bruce with 12. Votto with 12. And Aramis Ramirez. Days in Pittsburgh, Chicago, Milwaukee. He put up 12 against St. Louis. And that pitch is hit down the left field line and out of play. Aramis Ramirez had one heck of a career. Started off slowly with Pittsburgh and then some tremendous years with the Chicago Cubs.
Same with the Brewers.
0-2 the count. And the 0-2 pitch. This is in. Going into the All-Star break, Boston will be the league leader. The American League East. Cleveland in the Central. Houston with a 15.5 game lead.
Oh my gosh.
15.5. The Dodgers are the first team to 60 wins. They are 60-29. 6.5 in front of Arizona. Now 9.5 in front of Colorado. A little bit low. Milwaukee will have the lead in the Central. And Milwaukee will be the only team that is above 500 at the midway point. Inside the Central Division. And Washington an 8.5 game lead at the start of play over Atlanta. A liner that is just over Jed Jerko. One out base hit, and the batter will be Wilmer Flores.
Jed Jerko timing his jump. Watch.
You know, Jed was a great, and I mean great, high school basketball player in West Virginia.
That. Yeah, I've heard that.
Tommy Pham leaving the game with right hip tightness.
Yeah, you look at Jed Jerko and you don't think, it's kind of a spongy body and stuff like that, not real tall. He is an outstanding athlete and a good chess player.
You found that out, didn't you?
I certainly did.
Rex Singfield is here from the state of Missouri. Great story, backstory on him. But Rex is a self-made man, and his passion is chess. And so he brought the Chess Hall of Fame to the Central West End and got a couple of the chessboards to bring inside the Cardinals clubhouse. That's why you see all those players playing chess downstairs.
Well, it helps you on so many levels. It helps you relax, number one, and it helps you concentrate.
Are you a good chess player?
I am not, no. I'm a very poor chess player. I like bridge, but I don't like chess. My brother, however, my youngest brother, was an excellent chess player and still is.
1-2 the count. Matt Bowman getting loose in the Cardinals pen. You'd think that Bowman would come in to maybe clean up an inning.
Well, he pitched to only one hitter yesterday, so very valuable man in Mike Matheny's bullpen.
Sure is. Two. Cardinals have turned a double play. That was back in inning number 5. Three-two pitch, and it's hit out of play. Fans are trying to start the wave here at Busch Stadium. Normally that's a job that's reserved for Jim Hayes. He loves the wave, loves it.
And he's looking at different waves now on the New Jersey shore.
He sure is.
Extending his all-star break.
Three-two pitch. We'll do it again. The season that began for the Cardinals minus Alex Reyes. Tommy John surgery, and one of the bigger blows of the season really for any team to lose a young star like a guy like Reyes, who would have began in the bullpen, and who knows by the end of the season where he winds up. High pop up, hit left side. Jerko is over near the stands, and it drops as Grichuk was trying to avoid the usher.
It's a tough play for anybody in that foul triangle down there.
Three and two the count on Wilmer Flores. Ground ball hit left side. Jerko. The turn. Oh, what a turn. Whew. Mejia, an incredible turn at second base.
Ball never touched the glove.
Wow. And it's 6-0. Cardinals with the lead as they just moments ago turned their second double play, and what a turn it was.
Well, the turn, a good throw by Jerko, and just lightning fast hands by Alex Mejia. Wow.
That catches your eye.
It does.
This is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. There's Randall Grichuk at the plate. Today, Paul DeYoung has made history. First rookie, first Cardinals player in the modern era. That's since 1900, with more than 6 extra base hits in a 3-game series.
Run that by me again.
First rookie and first Cardinals player in the modern era. So that's since 1900, with more than 6 extra base hits in a 3-game series.
Man, that's just terrific.
Man, oh man.
What a performance.
Because of the work at the plate, it gets overlooked a little bit, but he's played solid defense too.
Oh yeah.
And the 1-2. Richick a swing and a miss. That's how we start the bottom of the 7th.
Dan, I don't know whether this is the case, but it appears that Paul DeJong is not surprised by any of this. And that might be, now I don't know that. We'll see. But the way he carries himself after doing it, there's body language to consider here. And I hope you folks, we're not trying to read too much into that, but it's an element, you know, having been in the dugout for a lot of years, that, you know, if guys aren't surprised by what they do, it's important.
Spring training this year, this is my estimation of watching a lot of the games, whether we were doing them or at the games. There's a fly ball off the bat of Fowler. Drops foul. In my estimation, he was the most impressive player in camp. And some of that was what you're talking about, how he carried himself. And he had a very good camp. But it wasn't like, you know, that shock and awe look on his face. It was, I belong here. I'm maturing. I'm getting better. Fowler cranks one into right center. That's off the wall. And Dexter at first base.
Well, no doubt you got to say that his heel is bothering him. Otherwise, he would have been on second base easily. But that's nice to hear about DeJong, because I was only in spring training for a couple of days. That ball down and Fowler turns on it. But it's nice to hear about DeJong not being surprised at success.
Here's Jed Jerko. RBI ground out back in the first, flied out to left and struck out. If Pham hadn't left this game, you might see Fowler out.
Yeah.
If he's having issues running down the line or whatever the case may be. But Tommy Pham left with a hip issue. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
Cards have scored in every inning but the second.
Wrapping up their 10-game homestand here today. They took 2 of 3 against Washington, split against Miami. Ooh. And a chance to make it 2 of 3 against the Mets. And you know that Jerko would love that last pitch back. His eyes lit up.
That was a hanger. Sometimes those hangers are too high.
The second time that Jerko has struck out today. A look at our State Farm perfect pair. And it's the All-Stars. Yadier Molina, 8th career All-Star appearance and selection. And for Martinez, it'll be his 2nd. With 2 outs, it brings in Eric Fryer. He'll pinch hit for Yadier Molina. Something you may see in the second half of the year. It'll happen at some point, but Carson Kelly will be here. Fryer is over his last 17. To break that string right here. Almost with a backup catcher, at times you throw out the overs, because especially with Molina, you just don't play.
Right. Certainly understandable. any lack of efficiency at the plate.
I think with your backup, especially with Molina, your concern is what he does defensively.
Yeah,
how
right.
he calls a game. Are the pitchers comfortable with him? All those kind of things.
Absolutely. Nobody understands that like a former catcher, Mike Matheny.
One ball and 2 strikes. 6-0 the lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Trevor Rosenthal has been throwing in the Cardinals pen. We come back from the break and the race truly is on. Just takes on a different feel. Every year it has that. You know, yeah,
there is no race before the break. Or you could say if there's a race, it's in small letters. At the end of the All-Star break, those letters are capitalized.
Little chopper hit to third. Fryer almost beat it out, getting down the line. We played 7, and it's 6-0 Cardinals. And I don't think many people thought that would happen. Certainly,
identical record.
And certainly no one thought Milwaukee would have the lead. You just didn't know what they had. You thought, well, they got some guys that are intriguing, and their first baseman and third baseman Travis Shaw.
They're interesting stories, but can they hit?
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
And so we're in the 8th. And the batter will be Lucas Duda. Phil Malika has been our director today, filling in for Tom Mee. Phil doing a great job, longtime Blues director. Brian McCann, our producer, with us every day.
Brian's our Lou Gehrig in the truck.
He really is. And Brian has called a meeting on Tuesday that you're expected to be at. It's only going to be 4 or 5 hours on Tuesday to go over our first half.
Our first half and all the mistakes that we've made.
Yeah, he's got a
what
whole
we're going
reel.
to do in the second half. 6 a.m. on Tuesday.
6 a.m. So you can fly home briefly to Sarasota, then come on back.
I'll phone mine in.
A 3-1 pitch. Fouled back.
Production meetings in this business are like meetings on the mound and their business on the field.
You're not a big fan of the production meeting?
No, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of meetings, period. Unless it's you and me, partner, talking before the game. And I'm serious about that. I love those meetings. Yeah, I do. Because we talk about everything under the sun.
Other than the game.
Trevor Rosenthal coming back after 3 straight balls, 3 straight strikes to get Duda.
You want to take a guess at tickets sold today in this crowd?
I'd say 43,800.
42,925. 42,925. You're pretty close.
I was 775 off.
It's pretty good. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Rivera.
Funny how baseball in leads like this, like the Cardinals have, can settle into almost a period of rest.
Everything is settled down in this game.
Yeah.
It's gotten quiet.
Mm-hmm. No waves going on among the crowd. Everything's silent.
And there's strikeout number 2.
You're an occasional vendor coming by selling something. The sounds of the game are myriad, aren't they?
Yes. Baltimore, I guess it was a year or 2 ago, they had issues politically in their town, and so they had a game in which there was no one there, and Gary Thorne, I don't know if you remember this. Gary Thorne.
You told me about it. I didn't see it, but that's great. And you're a big fan of Gary Thorne's.
Love him. I think he's tremendous.
Yeah, he is.
You worked with Gary a long time.
I worked for a long time at the Mets. Yeah.
So he decided to call an inning or an at bat as a golf announcer, and the particular hitter put one off the top of the wall. And there's a fly ball that may leave the ballpark. It's off the top of the wall. And Smith rounds first and now heading to second with a beautiful display of power. It was hilarious.
Oh, that is great.
Here's a 2-0. I miss Gary on hockey. I really enjoyed his hockey work.
Announcer. Thing about golf announcers, they all use the phrase nice effort. You don't hear that in football. Some 800-pound fullback is jamming between 2 600-pound guards. You don't say good effort. as
3-1.
The name escapes me. Help me, partner. The comedian that talks about baseball and football and the difference between the two. George Carlin, of course, the great George Carlin. I said, you know, in football there's sudden death. In baseball there's the sacrifice. I have that written down somewhere in my stuff, but George Carlin, what a brilliant comedian. He was an observer of society.
Saw him multiple times.
Yeah, I never saw him in person, but many times on HBO specials. Just
some of the
brilliant man.
Fox Theater here in St. Louis, and I had to leave because I was my side was hurting so bad. I was in physical pain laughing so hard. The strikeout of Rosenthal, and he strikes out the side. Also saw him in Vegas. Don't want to talk about that. Bud Light, famous among friends. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Beautiful warm day here at Busch Stadium. What's on tap presented by Budweiser. It's the All-Star game, and you can see that Tuesday night. And that'll be from Marlins Park on Fox. What will the Marlins look like in about 3 to 4 weeks? I don't know if you saw the piece written by Bob Nightingale this past week in USA Today. Bob's such a fabulous writer.
Yes, he is.
One of the best baseball writers in the country. And he said there's more money on the books for future payrolls that are contracts already agreed to for the Marlins than anybody in baseball, nearly double the Yankees.
Holy cow.
And
well,
so,
of course, the Yankees with all those young players.
And it just puts it in perspective with the New York team.
Sure.
But, you know, they're going to sell the club. So his point, at least part of the article, was because of that, what do you do with some of those existing deals to bring payroll down and make it more attractive for a sale?
Do you do what Wayne Huizenga did in 1998?
That was his point.
Mm-hmm.
He said it could be their 4th fire sale in their 25 years of existence. That pitch up and into Piscotty. And that means anybody is on the table, from Stanton to Ozuna to Yelich. Ramos has been a good closer. There's talk that the Yankees today are going after Justin Bour as a finalist for the All-Star team of the National League.
Because they lost Greg Bird out for the season. Well, I tell you, it would be an interesting move for the St. Louis Cardinals if they considered Giancarlo Stanton. And not to win it this year, but to think about future years.
So
think about his presence.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of home runs and power hitters, the home run by Voit.
And guess who's on deck?
It's that man again. Paul DeYoung.
If you're a viewer today, he's worth the wait, folks. Believe me. It's worth hanging around.
Cardinals have scored 6 on the run. 50-cent drinks tomorrow at On the Run. DeYoung today, base hit to right, also a home run and a ground out. think when you look at the Cardinals this year, a lot of very good players, but there isn't that superstar middle of the order type bat. And Voit, it's a high fly ball into center. Conforto is back, battling the sun, makes the catch. Piscotty tagging up from first to second. Let's face it, those guys aren't falling off trees. I mean, it's not like every team's got them either.
That's right.
One out and a runner at second base. 9 for 11 in this series. Average has jumped up to 315. One out and a runner at second. This series, I'm not sure we're going to have enough time to show all the highlights. It's been unbelievable. Hit after hit and damage being done. And a ground ball that's hit to third. 2 outs.
That's the first time that DeYoung has come even close to being jammed. First time of all the swings he's had in this series. Historic series for Paul. And he's angry right now about getting jammed. His hands hurt.
The other guys in the bench saying, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Big deal. Sensational.
Here's Greg Garcia, and strike one. And that's tapped foul. Oh, and 2 the count on Greg Garcia. The 0-2 pitch. Good play by Rivera. I always appreciate a hot afternoon, a catcher, team down by 6 runs, making a play like that.
Sure.
Again, he's a pro, he's expected to, but still you appreciate it.
Yes, you do. Particularly when your team's down 6-0 with 3 outs left.
A ball and 2 strikes on Greg Garcia. Fastball on the outside corner, and that sends us to inning number 9. Cardinals looking for a shutout when we come back. Boyd, fun to watch. And the Cardinals turn it over to John Brebbia. He himself has turned into a nice story for the Cardinals here in the first half. Cardinals weren't sure what they had in him. They found a mid-90s fastball and a very good slider.
Yeah, I think the surprise came with the assortment that Brebbia offers. Good slider, changeup occasionally, tricky fastball. It looks faster than it is with his other stuff. That's what pitching coaches look for, and sometimes you can just throw that radar gun away and look for the total package of how to get guys out.
Switch hitting Asdrubal Cabrera will lead things off here in the ninth. Cardinals trying to hold on for Lance Lynn. He would go to 7-6. Very good here today. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. This ninth inning may have the feel of the 7th, 8th, or 9th of the final spring training game.
Yeah,
where guys are just ready to go.
That's good. Yeah, with their bags packed in the locker room.
And they're hacking. From the Mets' perspective, some of those players going back to New York. Others going back to different parts of the country. And for some headed to the All-Star game. I don't care if it's Yadi's 8th or Carlos's 2nd, or for many their 1st. It's got to be a thrill every time.
Wear a big league uniform and a big league game.
The 2-1 is a fly ball out to right, and the catch is made by Stephen Piscotty.
You might say that Cabrera really cranked that ball. He didn't, because the fact that the ball was inside, that took his power away. We've talked about it a lot with big, strong guys. Sometimes you pitch them tight, they can't extend those arms. That was a good contact swing, but it was the pitch was too far inside for him to really extend and get the utmost out of his power.
Here's Jose Reyes. And a strike. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Fowler sliding for it and makes a catch and takes a hit away from Reyes. And the Mets are down to their final out.
Good play, Dexter Fowler.
The count on Conforto. And the pitch is popped up to the left side. This should do it. Who wants it? It'll be Grichuk. The Cardinals a shutout in the final game of the first half of the regular season. And they finish up with a record of 43-45. And the All-Star break is here. Paul DeYoung is our Budweiser player of the game. Might as well say he's the series player of the weekend.
That's a pretty easy call. And the Cardinals got what they wanted today. They had long bottom halves of the innings and short top halves of the innings. That's a good combination for winning.
The post-game show comes your way next. The Cardinals take 2 of 3 against New York.